Welcome, everybody. My name is Jabez Lebret, and I am CEO of Applejacks. We are an online platform that allows for tutors, service providers, parents, and students and children to all connect online with some pretty sophisticated video functions, which we'll talk a little bit about later. I am an educator, so I come from an education background, and an entrepreneur. So I've primarily been in the K-12 space and have really enjoyed working with a lot of different youth throughout the years. And my journey has found me here with Applejacks, and with our co-founder, Wyatt Oren, is here as well. So Wyatt will be walking us through a ton of the dynamic content that we're going to be going through today on the mistakes that people are making in their teletherapy. Wyatt has been building products that make a difference in people's lives for his entire career. He's co-founder of Applejacks, helping teachers earn extra money and acquire classroom skills and supplies through academic resources from families. Prior to Applejacks, Wyatt co-founded Bar Hero with his brother Davis to help restaurants acquire new customers. And it was acquired by AirTab in 2018. So seasoned entrepreneur. He is a passionate learner and a critical thinker, and it's really great to have him online today, sharing some of his wisdom with us here about teletherapy. We have Claudia Pomares, who's worked in hospitals, daycares, educational settings in France, Canada, the US for over 40 years. Her university studies led her to develop an expertise in environmental enrichment, and particularly sensory stimulation and the impact that has on brain development. Claudia Pomares has developed a unique program designed to prompt brain regeneration and rebalancing of neurotransmitters that has benefited hundreds of children. A few years ago, Claudia completed her master's degree in distance learning, focusing on special considerations for individuals with handicaps like visual impairedness or cognitive challenge. Claudia is visually impaired herself, so she brings some real experience to the table, both as a practitioner, but also as someone who has gone through this day in and day out. Kim Pomares, who is also on the call, is one of Claudia's children. When her therapy was clinically proven in a randomized controlled trial at the University of California, Irvine, Kim decided to found Mendability with the goal of bringing therapy to a wider audience. He then oversaw the creation of a telehealth delivery system, which empowers parents and caregivers to perform their therapy at home. Basically, the point of this is these are some really smart people who really know how to do this stuff. And it's great to have an opportunity to have everybody here on the call to walk through some of these mistakes we've been seeing. We understand it has been trying to make these adjustments. It has been difficult to take our normal practice of how we have delivered services and how we have serviced children and be able to adopt that to the new world that we're living in right now, with both the uncertainty, but also with having to have situations where distance and sometimes not being able to be in the same place is the reality. So today's session is all about what are some of the mistakes that we're seeing and what are some of the opportunities of how to fix some of those mistakes. So we're not going to only talk about the mistakes, but we're going to give you some tidbits and some tips and practical information that you can go use. For some of these slides, this will be information you already know. This will be information that you learned maybe a long time ago, 5, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and you just need a refresher on how to reapply that information you've already learned. Some of this information is going to be totally new, and maybe you are not as adept at using some of the technology that we've all been forced to jump into. And so we're going to talk about that and give you some actionable items that you can use moving forward. So with that, I'm excited to hand it over to the team, and I'll be monitoring the Q&A. So as you get questions, I'll be jumping in. But with that said, and without further ado, I would like to hand over the reins to the Mendability team and Applejacks. Wyatt, Kim, Claudia, take it away.
Yeah, this one is for Claudia.
And this is not me in the video. I'm sorry. But one of the good things about change is it sort of puts us in a confrontation with reality and then see the negative things, the things we don't know. So I have good news. And those few pictures that we're going to look at are telling you about your new life as a teletherapist. And these are your working shoes. You can work with a beautiful top and in pajamas. I'm not saying that it is important or that it is vital for your success, but it's nice to know that you're going to be home in a place where you're comfortable, and it will be felt by the family with whom you're going to be working. You will not have to find a parking spot in the parking lot of the school, and you will not have traffic jam. This is going to be your new traffic jam. I hope you enjoy it in between meeting with families. The good things are almost endless. It will be at home, it will be peaceful, comfortable, and you will be able to give the best of yourself without wasting time in traffic and driving your car and spending so much time on the road. Hopefully, with those positive things, which will make your home, your place of work, where you also receive the reinforcement of your family, well, in that place, you're going to be able to give the best of yourself. What are the mistakes then?
I have to talk about the bad news about tele-therapy. As comfortable as you are, it's a completely new environment, and you cannot take anything for granted anymore. You're going to run into issues with scheduling. We're going to talk about not winging it, being organized, and dealing with distractions. You have a whole world 360 degrees around you that competes with that little screen that you look at with that very important meeting that you have. Mistake number one.
Would you like me to jump in here, Kim?
Yeah. Or wait, hang on a second. No, I'm doing one. I'm doing mistake number one. I forgot. Going too fast. It's what I was talking about in the bad things about tele-therapy. 90% of communication is body language. And so what you're saying competes with everything else that's happening around you, because now you're this tiny little thing. A lot of the richness of human to human interaction is lost. And so you'll have to slow down everything. You have to repeat instructions. You have to remember that there's a little bit of a delay between what you say and what they hear. And that delay creates a little bit of a dissonance in the brain, and the brain has to constantly adjust, constantly correct. And so we need to give extra processing time for that.
Great. No babysitter for the client. My name is Wyatt. It's a pleasure to meet you all here today. Thank you for your time. Similar to Hollywood in that if you're going to go out there and film a movie, you want to make sure that each of the actors doesn't have any distractions. You want to make sure that each of them are focused on what they're doing and are able to really provide and give their undivided attention to their task at hand. So I've overseen a ton of tutoring sessions, both online and in person, and I can tell you one of the things that you can really do that's within your domain of control is to have a babysitter, have somebody there that can at least take the distractions off your hand and make sure you're able to focus on your child. The last thing you want to do is to be focusing on your child throughout their tutoring session via teletherapy. The last thing you want to be doing is going back and forth, silencing the dog, making sure that everybody can hear. Like really, one of the things I think you can do as a parent to make sure you have a successful experience is to have a sitter, is to have somebody there to take that work off your hands, be in a room that's a bit quieter, that has limited distractions, a place where you feel comfortable and a place where you feel like you won't be interrupted. So really creating that silent, quiet, comfortable setting will help it will create a successful stage for positive outcomes via teletherapy.
And yes, don't forget, don't assume that your situation is different. You as a professional occupational therapist or speech therapist or special ed, need also to be free from distractions. That picture here says it all. Kids will sneak in at the worst possible moments. You need somebody, an adult in charge, who will help them fulfill their needs so that you can feel as well and you can dedicate yourself to the therapy session.
Great. So mistake number 4, not recording the session. So recording the session is a really easy way for you as a parent to take a step back and really evaluate how it went, as well as the organizer. It allows you to, after the session, take an unbiased approach, not a real-time approach, but really an unbiased approach. We're able to examine the ins and outs of that session, maybe see things that you had missed when you were doing it real time, and truly evaluate and dig into the details. Recording the session always also provides that added layer of accountability. So maybe something came up that was discussed, or maybe you just had to go back and check something that you forgot. Having a recording really enables you to focus on the task at hand while you're having that session. And then maybe if you have to go back and check details, go right ahead and check those details. So make sure you can record the session and then review it.
I don't know if you saw a little message on my screen, but apparently there's an echo when I speak. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure how to correct it.
I fixed it. This is Jabez.
Oh,
I figured it out.
oh, awesome. Thanks, Jabez. Mistake number 5, not having, mistake number 4, hugely important. Having resources, that parents can access later is also something that you can provide as a marketing tool. If you have a whole bunch of those recordings, the private ones, the demonstrations that you make, not the recording sessions of you and your kids, but if you record yourself doing some demonstrations that your parents can access later, these are resources that can also make you findable online. So if people search for tele-therapy or occupational therapy online, they will find you on YouTube, they'll find you on Google because you have all those resources on there. So think about that. Mistake number 5, not having a system for everything. There's a lot of knucklehead stuff that you don't have to deal with. You're a health professional. You're not a secretary. You're not an assistant. You have your expertise. You're a professional in helping kids learn better, get better, speak better. And there are tools to automate all of those things that you need to. Scheduling. There's software for scheduling. There's software where people can go on there and you can see on that screenshot, they can see the times you're available. They pick the time. It sends them a reminder. And that has been shown in studies to reduce the number of no-shows, which compensates a little bit for the increased number of no-shows with online appointments. In teletherapy, there is an increase in no-shows. And so to compensate for that, you need things like reminders. The appointment is tomorrow. The appointment is in 2 hours. The appointment is in 15 minutes with a quick option to reschedule, so you don't have to waste any time with that. Sharing video resources. If you have a tool that records automatically everything you do and catalogs it, you don't have to worry about it. And then it'll put it and store it, and it'll give you the links to store. Those tools exist. Maybe we can do I don't know, Jabez, what do you think? We can do a webinar later to go into more detail about what those tools are. But today, we just wanted to tell you, you need those tools so you can relax and do your job and not worry about all these other things.
Yeah, there's no question that we could have an entire hour, like double time on this, just talking about all of the available tools to help make it easier to run the business of the teletherapy so you can focus on doing the teletherapy. And that's an important distinction there. And if there's interest, yeah, maybe we'll end up circling back and maybe we'll pull together another webinar for you all about some of those systems and tools.
I should plug you guys in. The reason we at Mendability decided to team up with Apple Jacks for this webinar is because they have an awesome set of tools. Applejacks is a marketplace for people looking for tele sessions, tele schooling, tele-therapy sessions, and match them up to a therapist, a special ed, or a teacher who's available and certified. There's lots of marketplaces out there, but Applejacks is the only one, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, where you verify the credentials of the people who register themselves to become a service provider. And you do the scheduling, and you do the video recording, and you do the video sharing and all those tools, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that is exactly what we do. Thank you very much. That was very nice. But it's interesting because it does bring together the point of why it kind of seemed natural for us to come together on particularly this webinar, because while we may bring the technological component to managing how to deliver the services and record the sessions and manage payments and everything else, you also need to understand so many other nuances of teletherapy and nuances of the therapy that you're delivering. And that's why, our partnership with Mendability here has been fantastic.
Yeah. I just put a quick slide for
There's a chance we lost Kim. Wyatt, are you still there? Wyatt is still there. All right, so it looks like maybe Kim's internet went out, and this is actually, interestingly, a prime example of how difficult it is to do things like teletherapy online. There is no question that you are going to be running into these sorts of hiccups as time goes. That could be somebody coming into the room, like a child coming into the room. I know my little 2-year-old son loves to run into the room the moment that he hears me on a call, and it really kind of comes down to that issue that we're all grappling with, which is this new reality of utilizing technology and trying to make it successful. And with the particular children that you're working with, this can be even a higher challenge, and that's why maybe we'll just go to the next slide and we'll come back and talk about the systems and whatnot. But we thought this was kind of funny. We actually pulled this graphic out of the slide deck for a minute. My backup plan is just my original plan, but with more alcohol. But we hope you understand kind of the joke, the tongue in cheek here. And as a parent myself, I can relate to the challenging nature of this, having to be kind of indoors or having to be virtual or having the pressure that puts on us as parents. And Wyatt, you can talk a little bit more to kind of the creating the wrong environment and how that can negatively impact your session.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Jabez. So I think it's within our power to do a certain set of things prior to the session to make sure as the proctor and as the student, things go smoothly. And in my experience firsthand, one of the things that really makes a difference is as the therapist digging in with the parent before the session and getting a feel and grip on that child's mood and really trying to understand how they feel, where they're coming from, how their day's been so far, just like what you would do in person, but really trying to get as observant as possible, because the more you know going into that session with the child, the better you'll be able to handle the session. Like in so many experiences, if you go into the session and all of a sudden the kid's in a bad mood, like it's really hard to talk them down. It's really hard to be there for them if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know like what the problem is. So certainly having that before the session, situational awareness with the parent will come in clutch. And also establishing a virtual toolkit. So, showing concern, being spontaneous, having a little bit of humor sprinkled in. Make sure that you're able to establish a bit of a virtual toolkit. That way, if something goes in a direction you don't necessarily think it will, like plan A, B, and C, you'll have a backup plan maybe where you can steer the conversation back in the right direction. I guess one last thing I would like to add, if we could go back. As far as the right environment goes, it is a little helpful too to make sure that the environment is as it should be. So obviously free from distractions, anything in there that might cause you to wander, just making sure that your environment's clean and secure. You can go ahead, Jabez.
Yeah, so not rehearsing with the family. This can be an issue where if you don't have and sit down, and it's not just rehearsing with your son or daughter from the client side with their son or daughter about what the session is going to be like, but also rehearsing with other siblings as well, right? So making sure that they're aware of what's going on and they're aware of kind of what the appropriate environment, next steps, and process. I've got a sign on my door right now that says, "Hey, I'm in the middle of a webinar. Like, come in at 11:30 or 11:45," so that my son knows, like, "Oh yeah, Dad's busy right now." And when we had to do a doctor visit with him recently, we prepared him by walking him through what it was going to be like and walking him through like how the process was going to go and the interaction was going to go on the video screen. And so helping equip your families with that, and also maybe doing that with your family as well. So it does kind of hit on both sides. It's a mistake to not spend a little bit of time rehearsing with the family for sure. It's just going to make it a lot easier experience. And that infographic's hilarious, by the way, and very apropos to what we're dealing with now. So do make sure that you are rehearsing with your family, and we'll go on to the next. If you thought we were going to give you just 7 mistakes, you are mistaken.
Hey, Jabez, I think I'm back online.
Hey, we're back.
Claudia wanted to talk about her puppet for this one.
Yes, please.
I don't know if I have a few minutes, but I would like to explain a little bit of that part of the rehearsing with the family. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. I found this little doll very funny, and it resembles very much the doll I use when I want to present a new exercise to a family. I have been doing telehealth for about 20 years. And so I have my own little secrets, such as the equipment that the mother should have to do a particular exercise. I am blessed with working with families who are totally confident with looking at a doll that is going to fold their knees, and how you do a stretch, and what exercise you do with your hand. So showing to the parent, maybe during your first meeting, the kind of things that you are going to use to show them, explain to them what you are going to be doing. Sometimes, and I think we're going to discuss that at one point, the child whom you are here to help is not in a mood to come near his mom so that you can explain what you are going to do. So having little props is always useful. And sometimes I found at the start of a tele-health, at a tele-therapy session, the parent may be also a little bit shy, maybe doesn't want to really be visible on the camera. Some parents just don't want, and culturally they are not allowed, for example, to be on the screen. And we have that because we know different countries where it's impossible to do this type of meeting, and you can show yourself, but not the parent or the child. So having a lot of equipment that allows you to teach and to train basically on your own is very, very helpful. Think about what you had in your therapy room, what you were using. So bring the similar object. A ball, an exercise ball, and all the different little things that you use for tactile information, all the toys and fun things that the child will manipulate and improve by manipulating them. So be ready for the novelty of the situation for that parent. And one thing I believe that one of the 2 other guys have mentioned is the fact that you are going to be able to serve families who may not have been able to come to your office for all kinds of reasons. With Mendability, we work in 60 different countries, so we sort of know where we can bring specific ideas or exercises and where it's better not to do that. So this is part of your preparation. Be ready with equipment. Be ready with the concept that maybe mom will not come to look at the screen. There are so many things that you can do if you prepare for all the novelty of the situation. So that was my little bit about my little red doll.
That, Cloudy, that's such a good point. And I think about like work that I've done like in the Middle East and how culturally there are considerations that you need to be aware of. When you're working in different environments in different parts of this country, parts of Canada, parts of the world, absolutely so important. So on the next slide, we have a section, a bonus section we were going to bring in here, which was about all of kind of the future of teletherapy and like VR and AR and some of the things that are going to really make this part of it a lot easier in theory. But we are out of time. So if you would like to see this as a session, if you think this would be worthy of a topic of the future of teletherapy, not just the technology we have today, like Applejacks and Mendability, but where are things going in the future? If we get enough positive feedback about that, we would definitely pull together another webinar, maybe just about the future of teletherapy. But with that, we want to say thank you to everybody for coming on board today. And we have some interesting offers for you. For those coming from Mendability, they're going to give you some promotions there. And here at Applejacks, I'll just let you know that we are excited to support you any way we can. We are a free platform for you to sign up on. So we're offering a free coaching session for those that want to sign up for Applejacks, a free coaching session for you after a session about how that session technology component can be improved on, and maybe some tips and tricks for you on the tech side there. And then obviously I'd hand it over to Kim here for the Mendability side. They've got some great stuff going on to really help you accelerate your telehealth business.
Yeah, thanks, Jabez. For the professionals listening in, watching, we've got a certification course for sensory enrichment therapy, which is a evidence-based intervention in randomized controlled trials. Adding sensory enrichment therapy to any standard care program showed 6 times more improvement. With autism, 21% of the children in the studies moved up by 1 whole diagnosis classification. So we're working with the Texas Education Authority at the moment on an app just for schools to do sensory enrichment therapy in the classrooms with an app, and that's really cool. This webinar was not to pitch our wares, as we say. Stay in touch with us with our newsletter, and maybe ask us some questions about how we want to do. What we wanted to do today was to share our experience with teletherapy, and those 7 points, we call them mistakes to avoid. Some of them look pretty small. Some of them are pretty important. I want to recap just quickly. Don't go too fast. Okay, repeat your instructions. Make sure there are no distractions and you have a babysitter, an adult in charge taking care of the rest of the household. Make sure you record your sessions if you're allowed. I just saw a chat there that says that some schools don't allow recording of those sessions. Then record the demonstrations and share those resources with your students, with your people. Make sure you leverage all of the technologies available. Applejacks is a very good consolidated platform that has all of those tools built in. We have the set of tools to share video demonstrations of a library of 500 different activities. Our system customizes the activities to each child based on the progress that they made since the last time they did the activities, to stimulate to continually vary the stimulation for the brain, to kick in those brain plasticity mechanisms. Mistake number 6 is to not have a plan A or B or C and not customize your interaction. And there's things you can do with those tools, with backgrounds, with icons, with sounds, to engage with the kiddo and make him interested. Make sure you do a practice session before you start. and that you have a doll. Katin Claudi's doll is a genius idea. So yeah, we have a $50 off on the certification course. If you're a parent and you want to do sensory enrichment therapy with your kiddo at home, you can work directly with us, but we also have a directory of professionals who are certified in this, who will also provide teletherapy. And we will, if you work with us, we'll give you $50 off your first month with the same code, tele-health 2020. Do I have some questions, Jabez?
We got most of the questions answered throughout, and we are about 5 minutes over. So for those that signed up for this, you will be able to email out back and send us your suggestions for what you want to hear next. What topics are really burning issues for you? What things do you want to answer? What problems are you trying to tackle on anything, any front with teletherapy at all? Please do reach back out to Kim and the team over there, and we'll be setting up some more webinars as time goes forward. But with that, we want to thank you all for your time, and thank you for the extra time. And we just appreciate all the work that you do and look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you, everybody. We'll send you an
Thank
email.
you. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye.